All right, hello everyone to what's going to be a very sexy workshop tonight, and also empowering, because what we're going to do tonight is teach you a recipe. That's like the major goal tonight. We want to teach you a recipe that's so easy that anybody's going to be able to do this at home. That's our hope. We're going to be teaching you a recipe to make hot chocolate at home that you can literally pump out within 5 minutes. This recipe is going to be sexy, and we're going to discover all about that tonight. So we have 3 really important things we're going to learn tonight. One is all about cacao. What is this mysterious substance that has so many incredible properties? What is the substance that women especially crave, and why do they crave it? You know, the second really important thing we're going to be learning about is the various herbs that, when mixed with cacao, produce tremendously powerful synergistic effects. So when you mix them with a cacao drink, you're actually getting like super powerful like combo effect. So, okay, I'm just seeing here people are asking that they can't access the recipes, so we're going to be sending them out afterwards to your emails, okay? So you'll get the recipes, you'll get the notes. Apparently it's not working to share it here in the chat room. Yeah, and the third, so we're going to learn about cacao and its benefits. We're going to learn about the herbs that go really well with it, and we're going to learn about how to prepare cacao in the ways that ancestrally they prepared them. We're going to learn about how to make a hot chocolate that is going to blow your minds. It's going to be so easy. So easy to make. So yeah, my name is Denis Manzer, and I've been making hot chocolates for about 10 years now. I started getting into cacao, and it's honestly changed my life. This little beautiful bean. When we're looking at cacao, we're looking at a substance that, you know, it's magical. So I suppose that's our first step on this journey together. As we're talking about cacao, what is going on in this herb that makes it such a potent love medicine? And tonight is actually sort of all about the aphrodisiac properties of cacao. So what's going on in this herb that it makes it so powerful, such a potent, you know, symbol? Like, why do you give a beautiful lady chocolate on Valentine's Day? Well, I've learned that it's important to give chocolate to ladies any time of day, any day there is, especially in certain times of the month. Chocolate's very important to have on hand. So the first step when we're understanding cacao and its aphrodisiac powers, we have to talk about its stimulating qualities. So cacao is a stimulant, just like caffeine, just like green tea, you know. So when you're taking cacao, you're actually doing something to your brain. And so the major stimulant compound in cacao is called theobromine, and it's related to caffeine. So cacao does produce this feeling of alertness, focus, concentration, the ability to stay up all night. And certainly that's important in certain occasions, if you know what I mean. The difference between cacao, though, and other stimulants is that cacao actually possesses a nutritive quality. So when you're taking the stimulant, you're not only affecting the mind and the brain, you're also nourishing the body. That's what's so different about chocolate compared to coffee, is that when we're talking about cacao, we're also talking about a food. It's not just a drink, right? I'm trying to show you guys some cacao beans here. But yeah, because cacao is a bean, it actually contains, well, all these nutritive qualities. So you're actually getting all these fats. That's one of the major compound in cacao that actually gives you a lot of energy. And what we're talking about tonight, we're going to need a lot of energy for. There's a famous old quote about chocolate that I forget how it goes, but it does produce in the human body much balsam or sap. And these old doctors were talking about actually how cacao can produce a huge quantities of semen. Like they were studying this like in the 1800s, and they noticed that when people drink cacao, they started feeling good. The other really important thing going on in cacao that's nutritive, of course, is iron. And that's probably the reason that women especially love it. Women especially crave cacao in certain times of the month. When you drink cacao, it's actually super nourishing to the blood. So it can have a tremendous effect, especially on women, to restore energy, to combat anemia and everything associated with anemia. I know it's what is associated with anemia or anemic conditions? Well, it's forgetfulness, anxiety, and insomnia. So if you consume cacao as part of your diet, you're going to notice these symptoms disappear. And believe me, that's a sexy thing. So the other very important thing about cacao I just want to share as a nutritive before we start making these recipes. Cacao is incredibly rich in magnesium. So magnesium is one of those things the human body needs as a muscle relaxant. So this does a lot of good things. Of course, when you're relaxed, it's very conducive to romance. If we're talking about cacao as an aphrodisiac, cacao is a muscle relaxant. So you could drink your cacao, you can relax. Relaxes the muscles in your body so you're not sore. You know, muscular tension, any kind of tension in the body is gonna not allow you to do those things you might want to do. So tremendously relaxing to the muscles in the body. And the special thing about this effect on the body is the way it actually targets the heart. So our heart is definitely a big muscle. It can get tense, it can get hard, it can get sore. Just like any other muscle in our body, our heart can get all worked up, you know? And chocolate actually helps the heart relax. That's one of the biggest things. When our heart is relaxed, our heart is open, and we can actually have heart-to-heart conversations with people. We can start to begin to feel feelings, maybe for other people. So there's definitely a reason that cacao has been used for this kind of thing in the traditionally. This muscle relaxant activity, of course, has benefits for women when they're menstruating. They got the cramps. Oh, and I'm telling you, gentlemen, if you're listening, gentlemen, it might be one of the sexiest things you can do is feed and nurture and nourish your woman by bringing her chocolate when she needs it. Might be one of the single sexiest things you can do is bring cacao, bring chocolate for her, feed her chocolate when she needs it, and you'll notice a few good things happen. One, she'll be less stressed and therefore a lot happier. That translates for me to less stress for myself, and therefore I'm also happier too and hornier. You know, stress is one of the greatest things that can affect romance, and by taking certain precautions, by nourishing and nurturing our bodies, we can be almost immune to at least some levels of stress. And believe me, it does work, and it does pay off. Right now in my life, I know I can make a hot chocolate within about 5 minutes if I need to. So, you know, some beautiful lady friend shows up and she has had a really tough day. She's stressed out. I don't even think about it. I start making a hot chocolate. Within 5 minutes, she has hot chocolate in her hands. We're sharing chocolate. Life is good all of a sudden again. The problems of the world are not so big as they were 10 minutes ago. And that's really what I want to be sharing with you today. Just how easy it is to whip out a hot chocolate whenever you need it, to deliver a sort of first aid. I've used hot chocolate drinks as a sort of emotional and spiritual, and in certain occasions, physical first aid for people, because it's immediately soothing to the heart. It's immediately soothing to the soul. And that act, that tender act of caring for somebody, just delivering them something that is nourishing to them, believe me, it is sexy. That's very romantic. So before we move on here and start to actually make a hot chocolate together, there's a couple more really important things about cacao to talk about as far as we're exploring the aphrodisiac properties of this very sexy herb. So cacao is not only nutritive to the human body, and by nourishing the human body, we have less stress and therefore more energy for recreational activities, if you know what I mean. Cacao is also one of the herbs that is the most pharmacologically active. So a herb that has a direct action on the mood, the mind, and the human brain. So when we're drinking cacao, we're not only feeding physically our body, we're also affecting our brain. And we do this all the time, right? We do that every day with caffeine. So cacao is very rich in theobromine. So that's directly related to caffeine, powerful stimulant, causing alertness, focus, enhanced senses. You begin to pay more attention to what's going around you. So that's very important for sexiness. The other things that are going on in this magic bean, so we're talking about the theobromine. The second really important compound that's contained in chocolate is called phenylethylamine. Phenylethylamine is it's called the love molecule. So apparently women say chocolate's better than sex sometimes. Well, apparently inside of chocolate is the same compound your brain produces when you feel love for something. You see something beautiful. You are like it can be your dog. When you come home and you see your dog, your brain is flooded with this compound, the love molecule. And it's apparently released anytime you see something beautiful. So yeah, it definitely helps. Like when you drink chocolate, you get high. Like you're experiencing a high a chocolate high, right? We're getting high on cacao. And this high is love itself. So when you're buzzing on cacao, you are feeling love. Everything becomes more beautiful. You know, it can be the people you're sharing this with. It can also be the work you have to do. You know, make love to your to-do list. Cacao has a long history of being used by merchants. When they were trading and bartering, they would take cacao and they would it would help them because it's so relaxing and because it produces alertness and it produces this sort of love, it guaranteed their trades would be, they would make good trades and stuff. So cacao wasn't used not only to do who you need to do, but also what you need to do. It's a great herb to, because this, what we're talking about when we're talking about love and we're talking about the ability to do things, it can translate to your work as well. You know, this fertility is, you know, that's the power of creation, and that's the power to make things happen in the world. So yeah, you're gonna start feeling love for everything, not just people around you, but the work you have to do too. So it's very powerful for that. The third really important chemical constituent of cacao is called, well, it's called anandamine. And so anandamine literally translates as the bliss molecule. And what we've realized is that it actually interacts with the cannabinoid receptors in our brain. So cacao interacts with the same parts of our brain as marijuana. And what's fascinating is that this is the same part of the brain that actually we've discovered is part of the runner's high. So when you're doing vigorous exercise, you know, your brain produces these endorphins, and the cacao produces a similar effect on the brain. And the fascinating thing is that it actually can potentiate the runner's high and make it last longer. So the good feeling you feel after vigorous exercise can be prolonged and in fact made stronger by cacao. So there's a good reason that cacao has been used in so many of these romantic situations in our world. I just want to show you guys a picture. So this is one of my favorite dudes in the world. Check this guy out. His name is Emperor Montezuma. And so when the Spanish discovered Mexico, this was the emperor of the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan. And at that time, it was the most prosperous and most populous city in the whole world. The Aztec capital was more populous than any city in Europe at that age. They were doing a very good job of feeding their population. And in this portrait, the Emperor Montezuma was actually in his 40s. And check it out, he's buff. He's sexy. The Europeans, when they discovered him, they were like, who's this guy? How in his 40s is he still so robust, so vigorous? And he had a harem of 80 women. He had a harem of 80 women he visited every night. And reportedly, he drank 40 cups of hot chocolate a night. So after dinner, he just started drinking cacao. He just started drinking chocolate. Mwah, 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 mwah. And it did a lot of good things for him, obviously. Yeah, I think that's a good, he's one of my heroes. I would love to live up to that kind of reputation. But okay, so let's get started here. As far as, is everyone ready to actually see how easy it is to make a hot chocolate? Yeah, all right. It's actually so easy. So, first important ingredient here. You think you could go grab that hot tea downstairs? Okay. So first important ingredient we're going to be working with is cacao paste. So when we're talking about cacao, the paste is the beans that have been ground to the point where now it melts. That's the magic of cacao. So you could do this recipe with anything you have. Like you could use cacao powder, you could use cacao, I mean, you could just take a hot chocolate, you can make your hot chocolate out of just a chocolate bar that you've got hanging around. Your favorite chocolate bar, it doesn't matter. But for our intents and purposes here, we're going to be using the cacao paste. So what's special about the cacao paste is that it melts. And it also is full fat. So when you're just using cacao powder, you're not going to have the full fat effect. So let's see, let's get our little kitchen set up here. Okay. I actually got kicked out of the kitchen here at Elixir tonight, so it was a little mad scramble to bring everything upstairs. Thank you. So we have our cacao paste. Got a few things here. And this stuff is actually my favorite thing to have as a little snack because it's pure cacao, there's no sugar. It's delicious. If you need some cacao right away, you can just chomp into it. But there is a reason why the Mesoamericans made chocolate as a beverage instead of just a food. And it's because when you drink cacao versus just eating it, you get a lot stronger of an effect and it's a lot more digestive. So just eating this is certainly good for you. It's certainly going to give you a little calories, a little good boost. But when we make it into a beverage, we're going to get a way more absorbable chocolate dose. So when I make a hot chocolate, let's say, okay, a beautiful girlfriend is home, just got home from work. She has had a rough day. She's starting to talk to me about it. Okay, yeah, okay, let's get a hot chocolate ready for you. So my dose is usually like at least 1 fingerful of cacao paste per person. And if you're using cacao powder, I would recommend at least 1 tablespoon of cacao powder per cup. So, got it going on here. So I got my cacao here, 1 girlfriend, 2 girlfriends, and me. There might be 3 good fingerfuls of hot chocolate. So we have our cacao paste in the blender. It's really important that you make this drink in a blender, because if you just poured the hot water over it, you would definitely experience like just trying to find the person that's not muted here.
First.
There you go. Gotcha. Okay, so, well, let's add a little more in there. That's our first ingredient. Second really important ingredient to make a cacao that is delicious, because one of the things we want to do here is create a beautiful drink that people will enjoy drinking. And when we're talking about chocolate and we're talking about cacao, no cacao is chocolate without vanilla. So I have a really nice vanilla extract here that is gonna make the cacao, honestly, like there's no description of how much you know, the taste that we associate with chocolate has to do with vanilla, because everything out there that's made of chocolate also has vanilla. And I find this fascinating because it's actually part of the myth and the origin of chocolate. So a long time ago, there was a man on the earth, and his name was Cacao, and he was a mighty warrior. He was handsome and he was brave, and he was so handsome, so brave, and so kind in his heart that one of the goddesses in heaven fell in love with him. One of the maiden celestial women in the heavens fell in love with him. And her name was Vanilla. And she came down from the stars and they got it on. They fell in love deeply. They fell deeply, deeply in love with each other. And the trouble was, Cacao was a mortal man. And one day he died. And Vanilla was so sad. Vanilla just cried and cried and wept, and she couldn't do her job anymore, her duties as a celestial maiden. So the gods above took pity on them, and they took pity on their love, and so they transformed Cacao where he had fallen. He turned into a mighty tree, the cacao tree, and to this day makes food for warriors. And he transformed Vanilla into this beautiful climbing vine, the orchid vanilla, and they always grow together. So they're together forever. So, and I think it's funny and beautiful that the two have been inseparable to this day. Vanilla and chocolate go together. They're always together. So yeah, it's quite beautiful. And well, they're going to be in our hot chocolate tonight. Of course. Yeah. I've got some vanilla powder here. It's what we use here at Light Cellar, but you can just go and get whatever your vanilla extract you've got in your, any kind of vanilla extract you've got will work. Yeah, there's cacao and vanilla together again. A little bit of that. We'll give it a little more there. Vanilla itself has been found to have profound aphrodisiac qualities. And this has a lot to do with the aroma and the scent. It's also been found to have profound memory enhancing values. So this has a lot to do with scent as well. So when you're having your cacao, when you're enjoying it and it has a strong scent of vanilla, it's been proven that you're going to remember that moment because of this strong sensual stimulation. You're stimulating your senses, and it's proven you're going to remember what happened there in that moment. So I've always enjoyed cacao and chocolate as a big part of my studies, as a big part of my, when I would go into exams at university, I'd have both cheeks just full of chocolate. And honestly, I might have fell in love with my exams and I totally aced them. Yeah, so we have cacao and vanilla. Arguably, you need those two ingredients. But now we can kind of start to play with our chocolate drink, because one of the cool things if we look back in time at how the Aztecs, how the Mayans, how the Olmecs, like all these Mesoamerican civilizations were using cacao, they were actually using the cacao as a delivery vehicle for medicine. So if you went to the herbalist, if you went to your doctor in Maya land, they'd be like, oh, you got an upset stomach, hey? Well, here, have this hot cacao drink loaded with herbs. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. We are using cacao as an alchemical vehicle for the delivery of medicinal herbs. And in this case, we're using cacao as the alchemical vehicle for aphrodisiacs. So it's gonna be kind of fun. So we're starting with a very common herb added to cacao is some sort of circulatory stimulant. So in this case, I've got ginger. I've got some nice ginger powder. And what this does is that the ginger actually it enhances circulation dramatically. So in the Mayan and Aztec times, they would use cayenne chili pepper. So usually every chocolate preparation would have cayenne in it. And the circulatory stimulant action of the cayenne chili pepper makes the chocolate a lot stronger. Yeah, the cayenne makes the chocolate a lot stronger in the bloodstream. So you get a very powerful synergistic. And the other word for this effect is, when you have two herbs that work together, it's called a catalyst. So the circulatory stimulant herb catalyzes the effect of the cacao to make it stronger. So the Mayans, the Aztecs would use chili peppers. Tonight, I'm going to use ginger because not everyone in North America can handle chili peppers, especially certain blonde and red-haired people. They can't really handle cayenne too. They might like it, but it turns them into fiery people. So ginger is a good alternative. Cinnamon is a good alternative. Black pepper is awesome. Nutmeg, any kind of these hot circulatory stimulant herbs you can think of, they're gonna have a very desirable effect when you mix them with your cacao. So let's add a little ginger in there. And of course, when we are talking about aphrodisiac effects, these circulatory stimulant herbs are gonna definitely create enhanced circulation to the extremities. We're talking the fun extremities in both men and women, erectile tissue, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's definitely pretty awesome. So let's add some dried ginger into this drink. Just a little bit because we're, okay, well, that's a lot. That's a lot of ginger, but that's gonna be okay. So we have our cacao, we have our vanilla, we have our circulatory stimulant. So anything you love in your heart can be used for this. Cardamom, cinnamon, anything you can think of that's a warming circulatory stimulant herb. You know, if you were trying to woo me and make me a hot chocolate, you could put dill in it, because I don't know what it is about dill, but I like dill. You could add mint. Peppermint might be not as a weird flavor. You could add peppermint, and it's funny that peppermint chocolate is so common in North America, because the peppermint flavor does the same effect as the cayenne. So a few drops of peppermint essential oil will do the trick. Yeah, the other really interesting circulatory stimulant and digestive that is commonly added to chocolate is actually citrus, like orange peel. Everyone loves like the chocolate oranges, right? Orange peel, citrus peel, like that orange flavor is actually coming from the essential oil of the citrus peel. And that peel has an amazing effect to bring circulation to the digestion, circulation to the lungs, and all these things. So citrus essential oils are a great choice too. So, okay, but yeah, today we have ginger, vanilla, cacao, and now we're gonna start having fun, okay? Like, basically this is all you need? Well, okay. There's something else we can add in there that the Mayans and Aztecs didn't necessarily add in, and that is something sweet. So we're gonna add some honey today. You know, honey, when we're talking about aphrodisiacs, is you know, honey is one of the great aphrodisiacs of the world. The honeymoon comes from that description. What in the world? I've been fooled here. What's going on in this bucket? Okay, let's see here. I don't know what that is. I don't know what is in this bucket. It smells good though. It's molasses. It's totally molasses. So the reason we're adding something sweet, of course, is to make it palatable and delicious to people, because we want to make this drink something that people want to drink. Be it your kids, be it your loved ones, your lover. Okay, so Okay, we got some honey here. So it's funny because the Mayans and the Aztecs drank their cacao completely bitter. Zero honey. In fact, the Mayans did have honey in their medicinal repertoire, and they prescribed honey for people with digestive difficulties. So if you went to your herbalist and they saw that you had a gut problem, they'd actually feed you honey in your hot chocolate, which was quite rare because they very much valued the bitter flavor. And the bitter flavor of cacao is what makes it such a good medicine, especially for the liver, amongst other things. The more bitter you enjoy your chocolate, like the less sweet you add to it, the more of a stimulating effect you're going to get. But I personally am adding honey here because honey, of course, is known as the great restorer of sexual fluids. So let's say you've had a very romantic night. You've lost a lot of fluids. That's why people would give honey as gifts to people on their honeymoon. Because basically, as soon as you start to ingest honey, you start to rebuild these fluids. And so it's basically an instant restorer of the lost sexual fluids. Let's pump it in here a little bit. Don't quite have to do it like that. I've got a pump action one here. A little more. All right. That's how it is. So we added a little bit of honey in there, and that's really going to be that's really something that's going to make it more enjoyable for people to take in their mouth, you know. Okay, so those are the major 4 ingredients you need. And now, if we blended this up with hot water, you got an instant hot chocolate. So I have all those things in my cupboard. I can pump out a hot chocolate in 5 minutes. As fast as it takes me to warm up hot water, I can have a hot chocolate in your hands. So now we're going to take it a step further, though. So we're going to take this recipe to heights of medicinal action. So we are totally making a potent sexual tonic tonight. And depending on who you are, you might approach this with different herbs. When we send you the email with the documents, I have listed dozens of these aphrodisiac herbs. So you could just choose one and start to work with it. You know, cacao itself is amazing. You could add roses to this hot chocolate, and that would make it especially sexy if you're a woman, and or if you're a man and you want to make a woman open up her divine flower, you might want to put a little roses in the hot chocolate, you know what I mean? You'll see her to see what is going on there, but it also, roses, of course, opens the heart. So you have this amazing combo of rose and chocolate. So I would make a rose petal tea and add it in there, or I would use rosewater hydrosol, or if you were, I might break out my $80 bottle of rose essential oil and drop a few drops of rose essential oil in there. So really this next part of the class, it's like, use your intuition when it comes to what herbs you need or what herbs you think your lover might need, what herbs that will help them to truly blossom and truly relax or truly have energy. So truly, when we're talking about these herbs, we want people to have energy again. So, okay, what am I going to choose as my herb to add in here? Well, looking around, I sure can see that there's a lot of stress out there in the world right now. So as an aphrodisiac ingredient here, I'm going to be adding one of the most powerful herbal stress relievers there is, because when you take away stress, you know, stress takes a lot of energy to deal with. When you can help and take stress out of the picture, all of a sudden you have a lot more energy for other things. So oh, here's my open one. Oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I'd like to present to you the Cordyceps mushroom. So I'm not sure if people are familiar with the medicinal mushrooms. Cordyceps is definitely one of the more potent of the medicinal mushrooms, and they have a very powerful effect. But when I'm using cordyceps, I'm not baby-footing around or whatever. I recommend a dose like that big per person. If you've never tried to heroically dose cordyceps, you are totally missing out. This is like, it's so much fun. And if you think about it, like this jar is like 50 bucks, whatever. So that's like $5. It's the same as getting a coffee or whatever in Starbucks, right? Why not take a big honking dose of this stuff? So that's for one person. My third dose for breakfast here. So cordyceps is very fascinating. As one of the medicinal mushrooms, it counts as one of the most powerful herbs we've got. Oh yeah, that's a good one. So if I was gonna invite you guys to look up any kind of herbs, it would be to look up the herbs called adaptogens. So cordyceps is one of the great adaptogens. The definition of an adaptogen is that stressful stimuli can exist around you, in your environment around you. And if you have taken adaptogens, the stressful stimuli will not affect your body organs. So they're like a stress shield. How they work is that they're actually nourishing our endocrine system. They're nourishing our hormonal system. So we're actually feeding our body the substances our body needs to build hormones. If we're stressed all the time, what happens is we use up our hormones and we use them to create adrenaline. And the more that this happens, our body is actually going to use that and it's going to steal from other parts of the body, from other parts of the endocrine system. So it's going to take your brain's, hormonal system to produce adrenaline. So all of a sudden you're going to have mood problems, memory problems. It's going to take from your thyroid glands. So all of a sudden you're going to have metabolism problems. It's going to take from your gonads. One of the first places it actually takes it from is your sexual glands. It's going to take those hormonal substances to create adrenaline. And the magic and the mystery of these herbs is that we are restoring our endocrine system. We're restoring our hormonal system. And by doing that, we have a lot more resources to deal with the stress around us. And we're not using all of our energy to deal with that. And all of a sudden, our mood is better, our memory is better, our sleep is better, and we feel sexier all around. So adaptogens, I believe every herb that is considered an adaptogen can be considered aphrodisiac. Very powerful aphrodisiacs. So look up these herbs, everyone. But what makes cordyceps special is that it actually, so it's one of the great medicinal mushrooms, so very good for immunity. What makes cordyceps special? Yeah, all of the medicinal mushrooms, like no matter what medicinal mushroom you take is going to have this effect. What makes cordyceps really special is that, for one thing, so cordyceps is known to dramatically increase lung capacity. So when you take cordyceps, you can actually breathe really deep. Your lung capacity is increased, and it's actually the lung capacity that determines how much chi energy you have in the world. And the chi energy is your ability to move rapidly in the world, right? It's like the ability to move. And if you don't have very much chi energy, you're not moving very fast. So the cordyceps dramatically increases your chi energy, creating endurance, creating vigor, for, very vigorous movement. So incredibly good for that kind of thing. The other thing that cordyceps does compared to the different medicinal mushrooms, cordyceps is known to increase circulation to the extremities. So definitely increases circulation to the fingertips and your toe tips, but yeah, definitely increases circulation to those extremities as well. So we have our major aphrodisiac herb in there, the cordyceps. What else can we add? Like, this is where we can start having fun. Like, what else do you need what else do you have in your cupboard that, and you might not necessarily enjoy taking? Like, in my cupboard, I have maca root powder, for example. It's really hard to enjoy maca if you don't know a recipe. Yeah, maca and lucuma go really well in cacao. Like, one of the ways to enjoy maca is in a chocolate drink. That pretty much guarantees you're going to take your chocolate. I wonder, what other herbs have I got to play with here? So one of my favorites, it's around here somewhere. Oh yeah, right here. So I don't know if you can read this. This is a herb called Macunia. Nope. So I love adding Macunia to my hot chocolates. because it is a traditional herb the Mayans would use in their hot chocolates. It would grow in their gardens. Macunia is a very interesting plant because it's tremendously mood elevating. It actually contains L-dopa, which is a precursor to dopamine. Yeah. I mean, so when we're adding Macunia to the hot chocolate, we're definitely experiencing an antidepressant effect, an anti-anxiety effect, and that's sexy. That's super sexy. Macunia is considered very aphrodisiac, and it's because of this mood elevating effect, this stress relieving effect, this effect it has on your brain chemistry. So let's add a little bit of that in there. I love this stuff. It's one of the secrets why I'm so happy, I bet you, because I have some of this every day. Just a little bit of that. We got our Macunia in there. This is literally where you can start playing. So, you know, I got a few more herbs we could throw in there, but I think this is a pretty good combo. This is going to be a vanilla, ginger, cordyceps hot chocolate with lots of honey. You could add coconut milk to this. You could add oat milk. Yeah, rose. Candace is saying, would rose be good in there? Yes, absolutely. Rose would be a great heart-opening, sensual herb to add to your hot chocolate here. Use what you've got in your cupboards. But yeah, come down to Light Cellar if you need some aphrodisiacs. We're going to be sending you all a list of some of the most potent aphrodisiac herbs for men and women. So you can look at these notes we're going to send you in this email after the class, along with the recording. I'm sorry I couldn't get this class notes out to you before, but we're going to figure it out. Okay, so next step, let's get a hot chocolate going here. I've just been talking so much, but this is honestly so easy, and I want does everyone see how easy it is to make this up once you've got the ingredients? Yes. Okay, so we could just add hot water to this. We could just add to make our hot chocolate, but tonight I'm adding in a very special herbal tea. So instead of just hot water, I'm adding in something called the Amazon jungle tea. So this is a decoction I made, and it's just adding that extra herbal infusion. But the Amazon jungle tea is a blend of 5 of the most powerful of the adaptogenic stress relieving herbs from the Amazon, each of them possessing strong aphrodisiac benefits. Well, we can read about one of them here in a sec, but yeah, it looks like I got to get a hot chocolate out here pretty quick. So instead of just hot water, I've got you want it to be hot enough to melt the chocolate. So that's a hot jungle tea. And you can make this as strong or as not as strong as you like. The less water you add, the more powerful it's going to be. Okay, and your blender is very important. So let's see here. Let's plug it in there. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's get this going here. Oh. Okay, so we got a pretty potent, we have a very potent hot chocolate here. This is definitely something, if you're gonna take it at this hour of the night, be prepared to be up all night. And of course you might like that, you might want that to happen. In this situation, you might like it for breakfast, I don't know. Yeah, there's some very beautiful hot chocolates here. You want it to be really foamy on top and creamy. Lana, I'm getting a question on the chat. This is definitely very caffeinated, as far as it goes. You might want to be careful with those if you want to taste it there, but I'm gonna make myself a big bowl here. I definitely have some work to do tonight. Woo! Yeah, I'm not too worried about staying up all night. Holy, that's pretty good. Oh, it's delicious. It's very medicinal. Well, I share this chocolate drink with you guys, and I also want to share a poem with you, because the Mayans said that when cacao enters the body, cacao is a spirit. Like the plant spirit of cacao itself comes and joins you in your heart. And there's one thing that cacao loves more than anything when you're having cacao, and that is to sing. So I've got a little song for you. It's actually a poem. It's a poem written in the pre-Aztec times, or well, it's written in the Aztec times, but pre-European contact. And it goes like this. I put the poem to song, but apparently that's what the Aztec warriors would do. They would get together, drink chocolate, and compose poems. And this is one of them. So it goes like this. Well, I'll have a little more chocolate. It goes like this. All alone I sing to the one who is my Lord. In this place where the goddess commands, the chocolate flower drink is foaming, the flower intoxication. I yearn for it, oh yes, for my heart has tasted it. Songs, dreams, desires. It has made my heart drunk. Yeah, so that's if you want an idea of what was going on when you take a lot of cacao, that poem kind of reflects it. It makes your heart sing. It makes you begin to compose poetry. So when you take chocolate, remember that cacao loves to sing when you take it. So I hope that this was a very informative little class. I'm sorry we had to kind of improvise here with our kitchen, but it's all good. They were really busy down there tonight, so getting the Light Cellar kitchen ready for in-person classes again. In-person classes are going to start again at Light Cellar, and so that's really exciting. That's pretty exciting. So I'm actually going to open up the conversation for questions here, but I really hope that we accomplished our missions. I hope you learned a lot more about how chocolate affects the mind, affects the heart, affects the body to create a healthier, happier, sexier human being. I hope we understand some of the herbs you can add to chocolate to make it more powerful, and how you can basically add any herb to your chocolate drink to act as a vehicle for the delivery of medicine. And I also hope that you saw actually how easy it is to make a hot chocolate just like that. It's not hard at all. So I'm gonna unmute everyone, and well, let's see what kind of questions you have. We'll see. Well, okay, actually, I'm not sure how to unmute anyone, but you can ask your questions here in the chats if that works. I'm having trouble unmuting people. Okay, so I'm getting some good questions here. Okay, both Lana and Michelle are asking, what is the difference between cacao powder and cacao butter and cacao paste? So basically, it all starts. Basically, you could make a beautiful hot chocolate drink with cacao butter. Basically, what I have here is the cacao paste. And what happens, they grind the cacao beans down. It turns into cacao paste. When you put cacao beans in like a peanut butter grinder, it turns into this beautiful liquid. So cacao paste melts. And basically, they'll take the paste and they'll press it of its oil, and two things appear. You get the cacao powder, which contains all of the stimulating properties, all the caffeine-like properties. And then in the other hand, you get the cacao butter. So the cacao butter is the rich, fatty kind of olive oil that lives in the cacao. You could make a nice frothy drink from the cacao butter itself, and it would be rich, it would be delicious, but what you'd really be missing out on is the caffeine-like stimulants. So if you wanted to make, and that would be called like a white hot chocolate. So if you wanted to make something like that with cacao butter, basically you'd be missing out on the caffeine-like stimulants, as well as certain of the nutritive properties going on in here. So yeah, it might be better for nighttime if you wanted that sort of thing. Okay, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, if you have any questions here, it's the time to add them in the chats here. You know, otherwise, it means I did a really good job. Okay, so Katie is asking for a quick recap in the herbs in the hot chocolate we made tonight. So in the hot chocolate tonight, we added Cordyceps mushroom. Cordyceps being a very powerful adaptogen stress reliever, restorer of adrenals, circulatory enhancer, as well as lung opener. So Cordyceps mushroom is an all-around very sexy herb. Okay, I'm getting some great questions here. So the hot chocolate made tonight was vanilla, cordyceps, and ginger. The ginger acting as a very important catalyst. What I've got here for you guys, I do have all the notes for the aphrodisiacs. I'm just having trouble to make them available here for you guys. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm getting the link here for everyone. So that should be the document for all the benefits of cacao. We're gonna send this out in an email afterwards too. But let's see. Okay, I'm gonna put another link in the chat room here for you, and it's gonna be all the most powerful aphrodisiacs. Enjoy here. So, okay, let's see what other questions we have here. Okay, Katie, I hope I gave you a good recap. It was very simple. We just added Cordyceps mushroom as the major herb in this cacao. Candice is asking, what is your favorite cacao experience? Oh man. That has to be the time I went to a Mexican party. And we made hot chocolates with magic mushrooms in it. And all the women dressed up as Frida. So they all had their little eyebrows. They all had mustaches. And there was something really primal that happened to me. And I started feeling like I knew what it was like to be one of the hairy men in the beginning of time. And looking at these hairy, furry women, that was a pretty special time. Yeah, you asked for it, Candice, but yeah, that's that was definitely one of my favorite cacao experiences. Cacao and magic mushrooms go really well together. The Mayans would enjoy them that way, and they said when you mix the cacao with the magic mushrooms, the cacao guarantees that you have a good time. The mood elevating properties of the chocolate have an effect on the potential of the magic mushrooms to, have a bad trip or something like that. With cacao, it guarantees you're gonna have a good time. Okay, so Lana is saying, if one wants a good night's sleep, perhaps you should save this drink for after breakfast. Have a good breakfast. Enjoy your cacao. Apparently it's very good for digestion as well. We were talking about how the magnesium is a muscle relaxant. apparently this helps you have a very good digestion after a heavy meal. So, okay, let's see who else has good questions here. People are enjoying the. Okay, we got a good question here from Joy. Joy is asking, what is the lifespan of cacao and cacao paste, cacao powder? If you have got this in your cupboard for a long time, honestly, the mood elevating compounds are not going to deteriorate for 3 or 4 years. If you keep the cacao in an airtight container, you might lose some of the aromatic qualities, but the compounds themselves that are stimulating to the mind are very stable. So you're not going to have you can still take your cacao if it has been stored for a few years, even if you keep it in an airtight container. All right, so Kathy is asking, what else would you add to make white hot chocolate? So we're talking about instead of using the cacao paste, we're going to be using cacao butter. So when you use cacao butter, you're going to make you're not going to have that same stimulating effect. Some things I like to add to white hot chocolate is probably vanilla. Of course, vanilla is delicious. And I'll add things like maca. I'll add things like pine pollen. Anything that you want to add that doesn't have a very strong color. Although if you wanted to add matcha powder, you would end up with like a super green hot chocolate. And that is healing in itself, to have a nice green color. Okay. Well, we're doing good here, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's amazing. Yeah, nutmeg would be really good in a white hot chocolate. Use your intuition. Yeah, use your intuition. Amelia is saying, watch out. Pine pollen is a powerful pine pollen is a powerful fertility herb. And honestly, it's such a strange thing to be afraid of fertility. When we're talking about taking all these aphrodisiac herbs to increase, we are increasing fertility in the human body. We're increasing the ability and the energy to procreate. And that procreative energy is not just for making babies, it can be used for everything in life. That procreative energy is tremendously valuable for just doing what you need to do in life. Make love to your to-do list and make love to your work, you know? When we're talking about fertility and in herbalism, I wouldn't be afraid of it. I wouldn't be afraid of fertility one bit. You know, I should teach a whole other class about some of the Taoist secrets of tantric male. I've got I know a few things about male contraception, and herbal contraceptives is a whole other class. They're in all people of the world, every culture. People have used herbs as contraceptives. People have used herbs as abortion herbs. There is that's a whole other big subject, which it's juicy. I would love to talk about that too in the world out there. It's a wild, wild world, but yeah, hopefully this class gives you a little bit of mojo. A little bit of mojo to go out there, open your heart, feel with your heart. I'll end this with a famous quote from one of my favorite books. It is Le Petit Prince. If you were a little kid growing up and you're French, you would have read this book. Le Petit Prince, the Little Prince. It's about this little guy who goes to different worlds, and he eventually ends up on Earth, and he ends up making friends with a fox. And it's one of the most important lines in the whole book, but the fox tells the little prince, the only way to truly see is with your heart. And yeah, I think the only way to truly see with your heart is for it to be open. And you can only do this when it's relaxed. And cacao can really help that. Okay, cheers everyone. Stay tuned for the email with all the resources. We're probably going to send that out tomorrow. And have a good night. I'm probably going to be up all night here. We're going to see what's going to happen here. So I wish you a fond adieu. Feel free to ask me any questions on Instagram or social media. I'm always available. And I would love, I always love testimonials from this class. I know when I used to do this class in person, this one couple got up and left after the first recipe. I was like, oh no, I must have done a bad job. Like, these guys are leaving. No, they messaged me the next day like, Denis, we were so horny after the first recipe. We just had to go and make love. And that was the best class ever. So, you know, we're going to have in-person classes again here in Alberta. We're opening up again. So that's one of the benefits. You get to come, you get to taste the herbs and actually feel what they do in your body. Okay, thank you, everyone. May the goddess of love be with you.